up guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic week thus far. In today's video we are showcasing off my Julienne pomade brow, and I am just loving the full look. I of course couldn't let the brow slide without doing a awesome eye look. So if you're keen on checking out how I achieved this little smoky nude lip look, continue watching, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you are not part of my YouTube family as yet, feel free to hit that subscribe button below and also turn up that notification bell so that you can get a notification whenever I post some content. And yeah, so if you're keen on checking out this look, continue watching. And guys, the brows. Ignore the little black tape. I couldn't find my clear tape, which I usually use to actually have that little wing like, or helps me keep that eyeshadows just there. But how do you like the brow? I used the Julienne brow pomade in the shade dark brown. I've done it of course off cam as I needed some precision of shooting something for them. And today's look I'm wanting to do something bold, hence the brow. So I'm going in with my Makeup Revolution Velvet Rose palette, and I'm going to be picking up, this palette is quite broken so I'll show it to the best of my ability, but I'm going to be using this little nudie shade just to apply that slightly below the brow, as I'm wanting to keep the colors on my lid and not the brow. So slightly below the lid. This palette is quite pigmented, so I'm just wanting to add some nudeness above the actual shadows that I'm going to be placing below that, using it as a more transitioning color just to balance them out nicely. And then just blend that in slightly. As you can see, it's fairly nude so you can't really see it, but once I apply those other colors it will actually create a little barrier between the actual brow and the rest of the lid. The wind is quite crazy today. Okay, so that is that. Next I'm going to be going in with a color which is, sorry about that guys, my neighbor's keeps quite rowdy. Next I'm going in with that shade next to that, and that is a darkish brown shade, and I'm going to place that in my crease before actually going into that dark brown shade. I love my browns. So you see on my channel I've got mostly brownish eye shades, and then just blending that out with my foundation brush. Yes my baby, I've got the kids alone today, so trying to film this for you guys, keeping them quiet. Hello. Just so that I can have some content. That's my little baby girl. So I'm bringing that shades all to the end where I placed that tape, as I'm trying to create a little wing, nice wing look shade. So I'm doing the eye part first in today's tutorial, as I am wanting to keep those eye shadows on the eye and not on the foundation parts of my skin. So I think I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna pick up some more of that color as I want to brighten it up a bit. So we're building. I do feel it needs to be a bit darker before going in with the actual dark shade. I feel that this is not dark enough, so I'm going in with that little brown over there. It's the darkest brown in the palette, and I'm just going to be adding that to the outer corners and then swooping some of it to the just mid-center, as I don't want too much of that product all over. So placing that again above my crease, and then just swooping that excess product to the inner corner, or basically the mid section of my eye, and then just give it a nice little blend. And then again on the other side, I don't know if you guys can see, it just enhances that eye so much more. On the eye, so I'm going to be using my Smudge concealer again and placing that at the back of my hand, my artistic hand. and then using my little angle brush if I can find it. Picking up the first angle brush I can find. This one I bought at Bling. You guys know I love my budget buys. And then placing some of that there and then looking up just so that I can get that little marking. Went ahead and cut out my crease, but I think I went a bit too high, so I'm going back in with that small little eye blender brush with that dark shade again and just placing it slightly above just to neaten up that little line that I've got going on there. Just keeping that dark browns just above the cut crease. Like such. I do feel like I can go a bit darker this side. And then I'm going to be picking up, I'm going to be leaving this section over here as is the cut crease with those little concealers. And then I'm going to be using my flat little brush, which is the other end of this cheapie. And I'm going to pick up that same color over there that we used above the brow, just to add some sort of a pigment to this look. Just backing that on and then just gently dabbing that in with my finger. Gone in and removed those little guideline strips that I had going on there, and then I went in with a mascara. The mascara I used is by Essence, known as Lash Princess. Cheapy but a goodie. A lot of people are still sleeping on this product, and this is in the false lash effect. I had my false lashes out with intention of placing them over the mascara today, as they quite voluminous and it really gives that little sultry look. However, my lash glue dried up and I don't have any lash glue, but this will do. So I'll be getting into the next segment of this video, which is the skin. For the skin, I will be going in with my Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation, and I am in the shade Toffee Pecan. So I'm doing the foundation step last, as I have quite a few shadows going on my eyes, and I managed to get some foundation in my hair. So I'm going to be using my Sorbet beauty blender, which is quite damp, just to even out those foundation all over the skin. Today we're doing a full-on face beat, as I have a beautiful brow going on, as well as I think I actually like this eye look. You guys know I love my browns. So trying to keep that away. My Smudge Perfecting concealer in the shade Ivory. Just going to be putting some of that underneath my eyes, as a little does go a long way. And then also just highlighting a little bit on the forehead, and then obviously the swoop down the nose for the highlight. And then again with that same beauty blender, I'm going to be blurring out those products, trying not to go too high with a concealer like I just did, as you will be highlighting this 5 edge. Down the bridge of my nose. And of course looking up while doing the under eye, which is brightening up that eye a bit. And then you can also use an excess concealer to drag it slightly below that line, just to blur that line a bit so it doesn't look too sharp, too harsh. To set underneath my eyes, and then of course the little highlight going on my nose, I'm using my LA Girl Pro powder. This is in the shade Banana Yellow, and I'm just going to be using that same little sponge that comes inside of it, as I feel it's more precise, just to set the under eye. And of course wherever we place that concealer, so it doesn't cake and crease on us. And then I love to put slightly more down the bridge of my nose, and then basically my T-zone area, as I tend to sweat a lot. So I'm going to let that bake a bit while continuing with my contour. For contour, I'm going in with my Yardley StayFast foundation. As if you have been watching my channel recently, you'd know that I'm not using any concealers anymore to do my contour, as I'm liking the little natural finish that a foundation gives. This is in the shade Mocha, so try to go about 2 to 3 shades darker than your own skin tone. And then I'm going to use that same sponge on the other end, and then just packing some of that on, and then blurring it out with the opposite end. To chisel out the face. So like I'm just irritated today. All the noise going on in the background. And then some just below the hairline, just to darken my hairline, basically create shadows. And then I'm going to be using that little brush, any fluffy brush, just to brush away those little powders as I don't want to sit too long. Just trying to work that product in, especially under the eye. As I am turning 30, so I've got a lot of creases. Hint hint, wink wink. Brushing that away. And I'm just using some of that below the nose, as I tend to sweat a lot in my T-zone. Using my flat concealer brush, I'm going in again with that same foundation that I used to do my contour, just to cut out that little nose a bit, just to give it a more precise little cut. And then I like to just take it down slightly, just to add like a little button to my nose. And then taking it slightly above, just to enhance that little brown shadow I've got going on over there. And then same sponge, just tapping it, dabbing it, and then using my fingertips just to blur out whatever lines are left behind once dabbing in. This foundation tends to set quite quickly. Now for my bronzer, I'm going to be going in with my little cheapy bronzer over here. This one I purchased at Bling. And then I'm going to be using my angled kabuki brush, which also purchased at Bling. And it is slightly dark, slightly warm, but I like my warm shades. Dipping some of that in there, and then just basically going over the same areas where I used that contour. Try to go as lightly as possible, as we're not wanting to get all the product onto our skin. And then dabbing that excess to my temples. Just to add some extra warmth to the skin. And circular motions. And then dabbing it back in there. And then very, very lightly going over those little lines that I created there with the liquid foundation, and then just slightly dabbing it in. So wanting a natural yet snatched look. So that is it for my contour. Next we're going to be getting into my favorite segment of all my tutorials, and that is my liquid highlighting as well as the lippy to complete this look. For my liquid highlight, I'm going in with my Gosh Lumi drops, and this is in the shade 014 Gold. And I'm just placing some of that at the back of my hand, and then of course going in with that sponge and just dabbing it onto certain areas of the skin, as I'm wanting to place this under my highlight. Reason being, it's got this little gold speckles in it, and I love my browns and my gold specks, just such a good combination. So I'm placing that over there. Can't really see it in the lighting that I've got today, but woo, girl, your brows are really showing up. I'm just enjoying this Julienne products. And then going in with my Celltone tissue oil, and then placing some of that there. As you guys know, I like that wet, highlighted, glossy glossy look. So I'm tapping that over there. And then some on my nose. And then just slightly some over there. And then going in with my little fluffy brush. I'm not using any blushes today as I'm just trying to keep this look kind of neutral. And the blushes that I do have are quite pink. I feel like a peachy, light peachy blush would go perfect with this. So for highlight, oh, I nearly dropped my palette. Highlight, I'm going to be using my Strobe highlighter by Makeup Revolution, one of my favorite drugstore brands. This can be found at Clicks and this is in the shade Flash. Using a normal fluffy brush, just dabbing that brush slightly into that palette without breaking it. And then just packing that highlight over the spots where I placed that liquid highlighter. And again down the nose. Actually, I feel that I'm wanting to do a bit more highlight underneath my brow. So I'm just going to be picking up a random brush, something that does not have any pigment on it. I think this one will do. Just a tiny little brush, flat brush, and I'm going to be picking up some of that same highlight and then just placing that slightly the tail end of my brow, just for that extra goddessy glow. So that completes the skin. I'm going to be setting my skin off cam, and then when I come back we can do the lippy and complete off this look. For the lip, I'm going in with one of my favorite brands known as Yardley. They are one of my favorite budget go-to brands, budget friendly brands, but they work so well. The pigments in all the products are 100%. So I'm going to be using this lipstick from the Lip or StayFast range in the shade Nude, as I feel that we've got a kind of a bold eye going on, so I want to keep the lip quite neutral and simple so that the eyes can really pop. So this is what the shade looks like. I love that all the lipsticks comes in this little angled casing over here, so it just makes application so much easier. I actually want to line my lips. Let's just see. I think I'm going to line my lips off cam and then come back. I've done, I've purchased a few lippy sticks from Bling yesterday for £5 each, and then I found a little lip pencil which is slightly closer to the shade of lipstick which I've put on, as I don't want it to be too dramatic, as we're wanting a nice nude sultry lippy to go with the look. So this completes today's look. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this tutorial as much as I did filming it for you guys. If there's anything you wanting to see on the channel, let me know in my comment section below. And if you're not a part of my family as yet, feel free to do so by hitting that subscribe button and then also giving this video a thumbs up. But until next time, hope you guys have a fantastic week.